Recently, I made a video about highway removal projects and provided examples of such projects from across America. I missed mentioning that New York City also have taken action before to remove highways. One of them is the West Side Elevated Highway. The West Side Elevated Highway ran on the tip of Manhattan Island along the Hudson River and was constructed between 1929 and 1951. The highway lacked maintenance and started to deteriorate. In December 1973, a section of the highway collapsed and it was shut down. After some debates, it was decided that the highway would not be repaired and would be demolished. By 1989, the highway was removed except for the section between 59th and 72nd Street. A 6 to 8 lane at-grade boulevard was completed in its place by 2001, and the waterfront was transformed into Hudson River Park. Though some will refer to it as the West Side Highway, the boulevard is also referred to as West Street, 11th Avenue, and 12th Avenue in different segments, respectively, which were the names of the surface streets prior to the elevated highway construction. While I learned a lot from looking at photos and doing research on the West Side Elevated Highway removal project, I thought it would be more informative to visit the site in person and see what it is really like after the highway was removed. I arrived at New York Penn Station using the LIRR and walked west along 33rd Street towards the waterfront. After walking for around 10 minutes, I arrived at a section of the surface road known as 12th Avenue. My first impression is the road is wide, but it looks more like an avenue to me than a highway, which some people like to call it. There were pedestrian crossings and signal lights, which helped me safely cross to the other side closer to the waterfront. This is a side where there are a lot of nice designs. The road has dedicated lanes for bikes and pedestrians. I want to point out some details about the bike lanes that I like. The bike lane is the widest I have seen and is separated into two lanes, one for each direction. The bike lane has long segments without intersections with other traffic, and in places where there is one, there are signal lights dedicated to bikes. The strip on both sides separates the bike lane from car traffic and pedestrian traffic. These features make it safer for everyone, car, cyclists, and pedestrians. These designs also allow cyclists to reach some decent speed, which you cannot expect on a bike lane right next to the car lane. Another great thing about these strips is that the plants and trees planted there would provide shade for the bike lane. I feel way more comfortable walking or biking here than around where I live on Long Island. Statistics prove that this bike lane is a success. The Hudson River Greenway is the most heavily used bikeway in the entire country, with 7,000 bike rides per day. This proves that induced demand could be applied to bike lanes. When you build safe, decent bike infrastructure, people do bike. Though I love these features, I cannot afford to try them out since the bike share system here charges $19 for a day pass, and each ride is limited to 30 minutes. And they charge you $4 for every 15 minutes after the first 30 minutes. I believe that if the bike share could be more affordable, even more people would bike here. The facilities offered for pedestrians are equally impressive. First of all, the sidewalk is also wide and closer to the waterfront. Some segments even bring you right next to the Hudson. Along the waterfront, I have noticed facilities for sport activities, piers, and open spaces in general for people to enjoy. During my stay, I have spotted people walking, running, or just simply enjoying the waterfront view. I have to say, the view of the Hudson River in New Jersey from here is truly beautiful. I also came across this, the little island, which I didn't even know existed before this visit. If you climb to the top of it, you can get a scenic view of the west side of Manhattan. Many might ask, what about the traffic on the road? Would it be a gridlock if a highway was replaced with a road? The answer is no. The West Side Elevated Highway carried 70,000 cars per day before it was removed. When it was closed, the gridlock that was big never came, and traffic decreased by 53%. This is because induced demand could also work in the opposite direction. When you remove car infrastructure, people seek alternative routes or just switch to other modes to get around. I visited the site on a Sunday morning, and my observation is that there is some traffic, but not too crazy. Some may say the traffic will be worse on a weekday, but stats tell us that traffic has decreased overall. So, what are my final thoughts on the West Side Elevated Highway removal project? Well, it's impressive to me in many ways. The well-designed bike lanes and sidewalks, the beautiful scene of the river, the trees, the plants, and the facilities for activities. All of this is nice to have. However, I do have to say that the road here is a little bit wider than what I would prefer. It would also be nice if a lane could be dedicated to buses, so the place is more accessible by public transit. But I do think the West Side Elevated Highway removal was a success and should be one of the examples brought up when talking about highway removal projects. What are your thoughts on the West Side Elevated Highway removal project? Share with me in the comments. If you want to learn about more highway removal projects, check out this video, which provides examples of different ways to remove a highway. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you over in that video.